I learned that there is a, let's say, a daily fee, which is in Spain quite, let's say, from 0 to 10. 10 is the highest and 0 is the lowest. I'm more about 7.5. Okay, this is my daily fee.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Wynn, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Pedro, and today I'm excited to introduce Elena Tecchiati, whose mission is helping people communicate clearly and effectively while appearing confidently on any stage. As an organizational psychologist, executive coach, ICF PCC, mediator, communication trainer, and author, she brings more than 15 years of international experience across Europe, the USA, and China through over 3,000 plus 500 coaching hours and 500 workshops in multinational companies, business schools, and universities. Elena has guided leaders, teams, and expatriates in their global development. Her intercultural background and fluency in German, English, Spanish, and Italian make her uniquely positioned to help with leadership development, public speaking, difficult conversations, and intercultural communication. Welcome to the show, Elena.
Hi, Pedro. I love this introduction. Thank you. I do it and
well,
put it every time that I need an elevator pitch.
well, you're the one to blame. Okay, I would put it like that. You're the one to blame about the intro. It's yours now, Elena. I'm excited that you're here. From the day we met, and
Thank you, Pedro.
before we get into what you do now, I'm curious how this actually started. Right? What was going on in your life when coaching became more than just an idea?
I was a singing teacher many years ago. You like the story, I know that, I remember.
I already
So,
love it.
and one day a manager asked me to train him or to coach him to speak in front of an audience. No, 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 no. I sing. I teach singing. No, no, no. But I need that. I need voice. I saw you singing. I need you because, as you know, I'm a singer as well, right? I'm a singer songwriter. So, okay, I can't do that. I went home and my husband said, "Do it." It was at the time. It was my boyfriend. He said, "Hey, you can earn more money than singing, than teaching singing." But it was not about the money. It was how can I do that? Okay. So I accepted and gave him some tips about how to breathe and so on. But then I realized that I needed more than that. At the same time, I was quite curious about what was coaching. We are speaking now about 2006, okay, more or less 2006, 2007. And so I started. Now, I didn't start a certification. I did a weekend first to see what coaching was. It was just a weekend. And the trainer said, "Oh, yeah, you can find tips for presentation skills, coaching people." Oh, great. So I studied the certification. I remember it was systemic coaching in Germany. And by the end of the certification, I realized I could do more than singing, teaching, or yeah, teaching singing. And I asked this manager to do more. So he asked me to coach the people in his company. I started successfully because I had anyway presentation skills, and I did other things before about presenting and PowerPoint and so on. But then I realized that I needed more to coach people when they have stage fright, for example, when they have when they don't know how to structure a speech, when they don't know how to meet the needs of an audience, and all these things. Okay, how can I do that? And then I met a very important leadership trainer in Germany, that leadership coach at that moment in Germany. And I asked him, how did you become a coach? Well, I said, I studied psychology. I did a couple of certification. So the day after that, I went to University of Cologne and I started to study psychology because I realized I really want to be a serious coach. I want to do seriously because I saw that people looked at me as someone important for them, as a guide. I cannot take the responsibility of these people not having profound knowledge about what coaching is and about accompanying people. So that how my journey started. And I remember this coach said, "Oh, international coach is very hard. Nobody can make it." I would like to call him now, but that was for me not a challenge, but it was for me a mission. Became a mission. It became a mission. Because of my personal life, I speak four languages, as you know. It's not something that I really actively chose to do. I speak English because I studied when I was a child and then working in an English environment. Went to the States for a couple of years. I went to Germany to study German, to learn German. I stayed there 17 years at the end, and my husband is German. And we came to Spain because of his profession, and I speak Spanish as well. And I'm Italian. I forgot to say that I was born in Italy. I'm Italian. So also this part of my private life brought me to meet new people, to work internationally, and to touch different topics about communication, interpersonal and intercultural communication.
Hmm. I love how you are kind of pushed into this, but at the same time, you're like, you know what? I got to improve my skills. I'm going to study psychology and all of that. So, in a way, it is organic, it is natural, but it's also part, I would say, like in a growth mindset point of view. It's like, yeah, I need to hone in my skills. I have this good, solid foundation, but I
Yes.
need to improve even more. So, I love that. Now, I want to understand, and I always ask this, it's like, at what point did it stop feeling the coaching side, right? Like a side thing or a calling, and it start feeling like an actual business you are responsible for. And we were talking about that, right? The first invoice, when you're looking at yourself, no, you know what? I kind of can make money with this, even when I'm helping people, there's also that financial component, right? So when did it felt like that shift that you were like, this is a real profession for me?
Actually, quite at the beginning. I told you, October 2008, I wrote my first invoice, and 2009, I did a pilot program in an international multinational company, making 50 sessions, 50 hours, at a low price, just to see how good I was. It was quite new at the moment. They wanted communication coaching together with voice and body posture, so executive presence all together. Okay, I did it. It was quite successful. And after that, and I remember it was the 9th of March 2009 that I started this program because it's 939. That's why I remember that. And at the end of the program, which was more or less after the summer, I started with full fee. And yeah, that's why I'm saying that it was quite, yeah, well, after 1 year, more or less, right? Yeah, after my first invoice. And then it developed with the time, getting more knowledge, having new programs, leadership, women, female leadership, expatriates programs. In the COVID time, I was working online with a lot of people that needed someone to talk to. So I cannot say it was always coaching. Sometimes this was just accompanying and being there, but it's also part of a coach, being a coach sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a lot of programs just because it's part of the game. Yeah? It's part of the journey. And that made me rich, really made me rich. Not money. I'm not talking about rich, but money, but I'm talking about this experience. Because as a coach, I touched many souls, I guess, and they touched mine. And that's great. It's not always me accompanying them, but it's always also part of their story touching mine. It's I learned from them, my clients, a lot. This is always what I say to my female clients. I learn a lot from men as well, approaching things in another way. So yeah, I'm happy about this. It's something that I will never want to miss.
Mm, that is very, very powerful. The way you frame it about being a companion, that's part of coaching. And sometimes it's just about holding space, right? Let that person vent, let that person speak without giving them answers necessarily. It's just about, being, like you said, like almost like a partner, friend. So that I see that. I can tell that. And you speak from the heart. Now, what I want to understand, right, is because you've been in the game long enough. So once you were out there helping people, and especially in the early days for coaching, like we see a lot of coaches trying to help the entire world, right? Like, and they're like, yeah, I can coach you. Yeah, I can coach you. And that's not a problem. I'm not judging. Okay. But who did you naturally end up attracting? When did you realize, yeah, I guess this is the people I can serve best?
Look, I took a diary in the last years, more or less after the COVID time. 75% of my clients are women. Women are sending. Well, as you can imagine, with different challenges, and 90% of this 75% struggle with self-confidence. More or less, they come to me, and in many situations, well, as you can imagine, that some companies present me like with an email. They look into my website and then they choose me, or in some platforms they read my bio and whatever. So many of them tell me, because they have the feeling that I'm self-confident, they come to me. I've never been like that. I had to develop it. So I guess this is something that they see. And coming back to the question, I'm attracting people that from the nature, maybe they're not self-confident, they are not, or from the family, or for greedy, whatever. And they go through difficult times, struggling with power, gender bias, age bias, is, if you want to say that way. So these barriers, and they see in me an ally. I don't know if I can answer to your question this way.
No, you did. Okay, you did. Now, let's zoom out for a second and touch a topic that I like to, which is the marketing aspect, right? And you kind of browse through it. You mentioned the website, they read through your bio,
Mhm.
LinkedIn. So, what I want to understand is like those women ascending, right? You mentioned usually who you attract. How do they usually find their way to you in the first place, marketing wise?
I work for multinational companies, and that the great thing is, Pedro, that it's important from the beginning to do a good ethic work as a coach, because people speak about you. And it just a director of human resources who's changing the company and take you with her. Some these things happen to me. Someone as a client, a coachee, giving my name to the HR director or to someone else. This is the way I did marketing. So I did not make marketing, if it's the question.
Mm.
So it's looking for opportunities and then do your job well. But it doesn't mean that you take your coaching sessions to bed. What does it mean? I need to learn also to cut. As you know, in coaching also, I have my responsibility, my client, my coachee has her own responsibility. And this is a healthy attachment. And they feel it. They feel it, that there is someone accompanying them, but it's a healthy attachment. So healthy attachment, ethic, and marketing maybe is giving my visit card every now and then, or LinkedIn, maybe connecting and telling people I'm here if you need me, but nothing more than that. In my case, it was more important to enter some multinational companies, which I did at the beginning, and then I went with the flow.
Interesting. Okay. Now, let's talk about the mechanics behind the scenes for a moment, right? Let's say I am your ideal client profile, okay? And I'm not sure if I was referred to you because you mentioned the community, the network, and all of that, or even if I landed on your website, right? So let's say I resonated with your work, okay? And I want to know what working with you looks like. So when someone decides to work with you, what does that actually looks like from their perspective, right? If I'm being onboarded as a client.
Mm-hmm. So from the first session, I'm very clear when I'm in communication. This is also part of my mission. So I clear up expectations, as you know, is very important. And I'm very open in my communication, sometimes direct or too direct. But they're expecting challenging questions. Look, this morning, it was exactly what we are talking about. It was twice the first session, and my two clients at the end of the session, they were so into the emotion that they cried because they found out things that they did not realize before. So this can happen. So I go very deep sometimes, and just let me guide you if you want to, if you're open to this, because you can change your life if you want to change your life. This was clear to me at the beginning when I was starting my certification or my accreditation, when I started to read many other books about leadership, about coaching, but nobody can change your life unless you don't want it. So, yeah. So maybe a new perspective also, Pedro, is expecting my clients. Devil's advocate from my side. I decided many years ago, after supervision of, as you know, we need sometimes supervisors as well. So I go on doing courses myself as a coach. And one supervisor said, "You are not the nice girl here. You are not helping if you're only the nice girl." And it was like, wow. So I play many times the devil's advocate and the bad girl because I know that helps. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's part of coaching, right? The pushback. It goes with the relationship and with the alignment piece you mentioned at the start, right? So this is leveling the playing field. Is like, this is what engagement looks like working with me, Elena, right? And how we're going to move forward. I think that's very important to set up the standards right off the bat. So yeah, I got that. Now, I mean, your work seems pretty involved, right? We're talking about one-on-one sessions. We talk about some team training, also corporate, right? You mentioned that. So how do you think about managing your time and energy so the business doesn't start owning you, for example?
I learned to say no. I learned to say no. I work with priorities. I work with calendar synchronization. So yeah, I'm now, for example, I'm in 3 leadership processes, leadership training. And if I look at my at my notes, I am more or less into 22, 23 processes, coaching processes, with media of 12, 13 hours, sometimes 15 hours a week of coaching. So I don't want more than that. I told you already, Pedro, because when I have more hours, I'm not able to pay attention, to listen well. So you can say, oh, train your listening skills. No, it's not about that. I'm trained, but I know myself and I know my barriers. So I had last week a day with 6 hours coaching spread during the day. So I had my lunch, I had my afternoon break between one session and another. So I was doing good. But if I know it, I need breaks and I'm very aware of it. So time management, important. Kelsey, I use my calendar. I have time for myself. I do sport. I do my music. As you know, I'm a singer songwriter. I'm a singer, so it's part also of my life. And I learn to say no, and I take care of myself.
Yeah, I always like to ask that because in the coaching space, more often than not, we see coaches wearing all the hats, right? And sometimes that scarcity mindset of, hey, it's just my time, right? I can book it. And that's the client. And they're like, when you're looking at it from that perspective, and then you realize you're working 10 hours a day and you're like, well, wait a minute. I'm advocating against burnout and I'm burning myself out. So that's the
It's
reason
okay.
why I tend to ask
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. I have some weeks with 25 hours of coaching, but that's because I spread them during the days. But that's because I don't know, I'm on holiday the week after, or because
Mm,
I have to travel or whatever. So I'm aware of this and I
mhm.
distribute my hours properly.
Interesting. Now, one thing that I would like to talk with you, since I mean, you've been more than 18 years in the game, and this is always a hot topic, right? Which is pricing. But we don't need to talk about hard numbers, right? It's more about the journey because that's a very self-worth path. Like, am I charging enough? Am I not charging enough? Because at the end of the day, service-based industries are based on your time, right? So, and then sometimes you have those weeks that you don't have a lot of bookings. So my question to you is, how do you approach that now, that topic, right? The pricing. And what did you have to learn the hard way to get where you are right now, you know?
I learned that there is a, let's say, a daily fee, which is in Spain quite, let's say, from 0 to 10. 10 is the highest and 0 is the lowest. I'm more about 7.5. Okay, this is my daily fee for training, for example. Then it
Mhm.
depends on preparation. So I spread this, I divide this, and I have my coaching fee personally. Personally, it means if I go to Barcelona, if I go to Madrid, or if I go somewhere here to Mataró. But people don't do that anymore, so it's online. So I went down with my fee because a little bit, because I prefer to stay here with a laptop. I must say that video conferences, coaching, people are more punctual than before.
Mm.
So I realized that. Um, and so yeah, that's it. So I try to, and then there are some platforms that you cannot negotiate the price. That's the way it is. And some
Mhm.
companies, they tell me openly the budget that they have, and sometimes it's more than my hours. That's great. Just take it.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, don't worry. So it depends. But I learned, as I said, to have make a benchmark, understanding daily fees first. If someone is starting, you cannot maybe take the fee of a PCC or MCC, surely, or someone has so much experience, but not €1, surely, because there are certifications, there are hours. of work behind that. And because coaches are not like friends taking a coffee with someone and chatting about something. This is very clear. People think I earn my money making nice questions. This is not what we do. So it's much more than that. And we need to realize it and to see it as a job. It is a profession.
Interesting. Now, looking forward a bit, Elena,
Yeah.
what's the direction you're aiming this business towards? Are you thinking more about growth, leverage, building a team, or refining what already works? What feels most exciting right now?
I would love. I wrote a book in Spanish. It's a diary of positivity with a journey through life, values, positivity, good attitude. And I'm writing other books. I'm writing about performance, how to raise performance. So another book in professional development. My vision, coaching, writing, presenting my books, and getting more clients. That's it. Does it make sense? And that happens because Pedro, I did a presentation of my book and a director of human resources was there.
Mm.
I can't imagine that. Now I have a new client. That's it's great, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, I can see the synergy, right? It's like one thing complements the other. I think it makes sense. Okay. And yes, it does make sense. Now, even when things are going well, right? There's always something under construction. And what's the main thing you're actively working on or trying to improve in the business right now?
Yeah, you were talking about time management, and that's it. I met yesterday also someone who's interested in presenting my book as a concept for coaching positivity. So this person has a company, consulting company. So we are gonna work together to present this concept of positivity, resilience as a coaching process with my book. It can be a good business, has the same model. Let's see. Let's see. And I'm working on the other book about performance. And um, I'm having some interviews in Italy to be a coach for two Italian companies. So let's see what. But it's always, yeah, you're right. It's actually, if I think there is always something going on, a training with coaching. When I do leadership training, for example, all the participants, well, you're a coach. Yeah, we should have a session of coaching after the training. And that's also a good business model that because coaching is a great way of learning. We should be aware of that. It's the best way of learning individually.
Mm. Yes, a lot of spinning plates. You can't stop writing books, having your coaches, scaling that, building the systems. Yeah, sounds like Elena has got a lot going on. Now, I mean, Elena, you've been in the game, like I said, around long enough, right, to see trends come and go, and people give business advice nonstop, especially in social media. I always emphasize this.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like you're browsing and it's like AI is dead. Next topic, AI is going to take over, that kind of duality. So, what so much noise out there. Now, what's something you hear repeated a lot, that you think people misunderstand or maybe they overvalue?
About our profession.
Mm.
Or about what do you mean exactly? About our profession or about
I would say business advice, could be the
okay.
profession. I'll throw it one out there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are trying to, for example, replace coaches with chatbots, you know,
Oh yeah.
or maybe people on there's one thing that I hear a lot. It's like about the grinding mindset. And sometimes it's not just about grinding, it's about working smart. It's not about putting 10, 12 hours in the day. It's more like being more efficient. So it really depends on the advice you're looking at. And you can use that whatever works for you as your lens, as business advice or maybe in the profession, whatever rocks your boat, I would say.
I jumped into an ad in Instagram a couple of weeks ago about someone who's telling coaches and therapists and psychologists how to make the business. And I was curious because I was thinking it was maybe a system for calendar or whatever. No, no, no. He coaches them how to get clients and how. So um, when I saw actually the pieces of advice, I would say be careful. Be careful because um, everything there, if it's AI looking for clients, it's not that I do an advertisement and then people are coming to me and like, like selling bread. But no, it's not the way it is. It As a coach, also we need to grow. And I remember I'm not the same in 2008 or 2009. It's not just having an advertisement or having a landing page. He will send in landing pages with whatever. It's not that way that you grow as a coach. You can do advertisement and you can have a great landing page to at least to start communicating with potential clients. But it's not like now I have 10 sessions more every week. It's work. Um, and then it was the other one, these people in LinkedIn which are writing to help you finding new clients, okay, with AI and with database and all these things. I don't know, I'm quite skeptical about that, and I prefer the right or the normal way because it's more sustainable when you do your job and you have really real contact with companies and with people. It's sustainable.
Yeah, I think it's about the hook, right? It's like it sounds so simple when you're reading the ad or you're going
Yeah.
through a video, but in reality, more often than not, it's not simple. For example, if you have someone promising lead gens and call bookings, well, are they qualified? Is this the type of people I should be talking to?
Mhm.
How can they assume these are qualified leads if we even had a conversation about it? I
Yeah, yeah.
think it's the easy hook, right? That's always been there, always in the market. It's like, hey, you're gonna do X, Y, and Z more. We're gonna 10x your stuff. So click here. So yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. It's like, well, first of all, it needs to be aligned with who you are, what you do.
Mhm.
If it feels icky and you're like, this is not really my thing, not my
Yeah.
voice. I think you can filter that just by the style of the ad. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. You know, and on the flip side, Elena, what's something boring or not hyped that you wish more people actually paid attention to, you know?
In coaching.
Business advice, coaching. I liked your first one about the ads. I think that's a very powerful. That's a business advice for everyone if you're thinking about it. It applies to coaching, yes. So you can pick whatever feels like it. Like you feel like people should pay more attention to, and more often than not, they're not really paying attention to.
Let's see if I understood right. What I believe, and this is now one of my we talk now about beliefs as
Mhm.
coach. So we try to find something new to be to make innovations, to find some new techniques or whatever.
Mhm.
We are human beings. In coaching, there is the human touch. And I find really boring people also LinkedIn or whatever, the new system coaching with, and then they find the acronyms for, I don't want to speak about grow. I follow it as well, but there are some new things like, I can't remember what was it. And I thought, what is it? I mean, this is what we do actually as a coach. It should be a new model. So people try to find something new to catch attention,
Mm.
to show that they are innovative, but there is nothing new here. The process is clear. The process is clear. The human touch is clear. Touching human souls, it's the same, and And it's not boring. What is boring is when people try to find something like, hey, I'm a best coach because I have now the new method. There is nothing about that. And that is something that disturbs me a lot. I don't
Mm.
know if I could answer to your question
You
this way.
did. I love it. I love the fact that you're like, I'm not sure, but you hit the nail in the head. And the reason I feel like it's like it's just old stuff with new names and people trying to pretend to be more smart than they actually
Yeah,
are, right? It's a
yeah,
different frame. It's like at the end of the day, it's human connection. There is a human component. You're just trying to put, in a way that sounds innovative, but it's really not. It's just, and sometimes when you think about it and you look through it, you can see the BS, right? You can see
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
oh, okay, okay, I know what you're doing, and that is so
Yeah.
interesting. I love
I
that.
remember when I started and I did almost my PhD. I just did the first part because I prefer to coach. I prefer to work. And I was doing my PhD in inclusive leadership. So I
Mhm.
read many things about leadership, many things. And I remember my professor said, yeah, just take one book about leadership and take the other one, take the other one. And they're saying the same. But I don't want to say that they're saying the same, but the concepts, okay, are following. So surely the concept of leadership has changed. So it's not bossy anymore. Leaders are helping whatever, they're supporting, but there's nothing new in that. I mean, leadership is creating followers. That's the same. What I'm saying is, in the academic world, well, me too, we are aware of this, that the human being has the same processes. Body language hasn't changed. The human mind is changing because of social media. Okay, I agree, but the brain is the same and emotions are the same. So, yeah, I was venting my frustration.
Yeah, no, I get what I love the losing weight analogy for this. It's like there people are always trying to find the magic pill, right? The
Yeah,
magic wand. It's like you're gonna have to eat less, exercise, and you're gonna be healthier. It's that simple. There is no, magic diet, and then you're gonna start taking showers at 3 a.m. and that type of stuff, crazy stuff. Oh, you're gonna eat just eggs. So it's not about that. The main thing, the main idea is like you're gonna have to eat less. You're gonna have to exercise
yeah,
more. And at the end of the day, it is that simple. Nobody's saying it's easy, because if it was easy, those hooks we are talking about, they wouldn't work, right?
yeah, yeah.
Everyone would have that solved, right?
Sure, sure. My friend
Yeah.
is doing yoga face, or this face yoga. How does you call it? Yeah,
Mm.
and she's always looking for something new. But she said at the same, the exercises are always the same. This, this, So even though
Yeah.
it's face yoga, something new, but the exercises are the same. Um, Coaching, if you have a good school, the processes are the same. You can find new tools. I don't know how many certifications in coaching. And actually, I just did that also because the approaches of the trainers or the coaches were different. But at the end, the process is clear.
Mm.
I
Right.
also did it because of the different states where I worked. I did it in the US, I did it in Italy, I did it in Spain, whatever. But
It is what it is, Elena. It is what it is.
and it can be a great thing. Just believe it. I mean, we all have our style,
Hmm.
okay, and this is important. So branding, and this is for all coaches who are listening. I have my branding, I have my style. I'm not okay maybe for everyone, and that's okay. I'm aware of it. I have my style, and that's also part of the game. This is like when you buy something, a t-shirt or a product. You like it, someone else doesn't like it. We need to be aware of this, but also to be aware what I'm a good at and what I'm good at for. So how can I support someone and what is my added value? And this is important.
Yeah. and accept that. I think that's part of it. It's like, it's accept the fact that this is not a good client for me, and it's okay.
I rejected 2 clients in my life.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And I stopped some processes, I guess 3, if I can remember, because people did not want to do anything. They were not interested in it, even though you try. I say, look, as I said, you cannot change your life if you don't want to change it.
Mhm.
It's not a coach coming here and convincing you to have coaching. No, this is not the way it works.
Yes. You're getting me to a rabbit hole. And before we close this out, Elena, if someone resonated with what you shared and wants to follow your work, right, where should they go?
Well, my website is etecchiati.com, which is E from my first name and then my surname, Tecchiati, Elena, etecchiati.com. You find me also on LinkedIn. I have a cousin, actually. She has exactly the same name, but you can find she's not a coach. So happy to get in touch with anyone that would love to stay in touch with me. Great.
Okay. There were a few moments from this podcast that I would love to highlight. I would say, put it like that. First of all, your background as a singing teacher and the fact that you rejected, you're like, I'm not going to help people, and that to talk in public and all of that. You're like, that's not really for me. I'm not sure. And then you realize, you know what? I guess this is something like I could be doing. And you were, at that time, that was your boyfriend, but turned out to be your husband. I think that is so interesting. That's so organic. It's not like you wake up a day and you're like, I'm a coach. No, it's like something that just happened. Based on the raw potential you were already showing to people. And another thing is, like, when you told me that you became rich because you touched so many souls and they touched yours, right? I think that is such a powerful reminder to ground people, to anchor them, to understand that this, at the end of the day, you can name it as much as you want to. It's about human connection, and it goes both ways, right? It's not just about you in a preaching mode towards your coachee. It's you growing alongside them, right? As a partner, even if it is as a coach, but making the right questions and keep moving forward, really like that. And last but not least, learn to say no, right? Like, hold your ground. You're the business owner and you're a coach, but at the same time, you have to understand you're not for everyone. You have your capacity, you have your limitations, and sometimes they're not a match, just that. So Elena, this is my long-winded way of saying that I really appreciate you taking the time and being open with this. Okay, it was great having you on.
Pedro, I love this interview. Thank you very much. You do a really great job. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.